with that out of the way, Kelley, do you want to jump into another call?
Sure, I'd love to. I would love
All right,
to.
let's talk to Kevin. Kevin he/him is calling from Tennessee about occultism.
What is up,
Kevin?
Kelley?
Do you want to?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Kevin?
We were just talking in Discord. I wanted to jump in and say a few things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, what we were talking about with to do the topic about occultism, and it's having a sort of a grounded perspective on it. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. I feel like I'm third wheeling this conversation that you've already started with Kelley, but bring me up to speed.
So sorry. Yeah, we were in Discord and we were just having a great conversation. So yeah, okay. So for one thing, holy crap! To the guy that was just there, he basically just he basically just was like copy and pasted exactly what I just was just going over in our conversation about evolution and psychedelics role and and potential role in doing that. So that was a mind messing with me at the with that as well as
I was
have issues with with
I was kind of having
sort of psychosis.
I was kind of having deja vu there too.
Talk about coincidences or synchronicities, if we will.
Yes, right. Talk about yes.
Yeah, that's.
So, what do you want to talk to us about today?
Okay, so so let's go with that. So occultism, and sort of because I have gone through. Because when I got out of my religion, I went through the whole New Age stick and things, and I just jumped in to every rabbit hole that I could go through. But on the other side, I then started to listen to atheists and skeptics and things, and debunking New Age stuff. And really, I came out of it with a little bit more of a balanced perspective on this, because I'm not completely, crazy New Age, but I'm also, I'm logical, in the sense that I value, what skeptics have to say. So I've really reinterpreted, the things as, the ideas that are propounded by the New Age. I've gotten rid of quantum because I'll be the first to tell you, I have no idea what the hell, quantum has to do with any of it. It can be explained through the mind and the potential collective, unconscious as proposed by Jung. But
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to leave Jung aside for a second. Can you tell us so you want to talk about occultism, yes?
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
So can you define what we're talking about then? Like, what do you mean by occultism?
Occultism would be the study, the study of the esoteric, magic, and it's the philosophy behind that and how it is supposed to work, as well as the study of the way in which we communicate with our unconscious to do magic. That would probably be the technical definition of what I would say occultism is, or at least the Western esoteric tradition that I have been studying.
Okay, now I'm interested. So do you believe in this magic?
I do believe in magic. Yes.
Okay. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Right. So, yes. So magic is making, Aleister Crowley's idea of magic is making change in accordance with will. So we do this, in that broadest sense of the term, we do magic unconsciously all the time. It's just that the magician is conscious of it, and that he ultimately takes the role as the central central agent in his own life, and he works with his own subconscious in order to bring about changes within his own consciousness, as well as what he brings to the table to in the sense of his skills and ability to manifest what he or they, whatever, in the world. So that would be that.
Are we talking about anything more than just like taking physical actions and thereby influencing your environment or the world around you?
That is one application of magic. The other application would be to work within the collective unconscious. And
what is the collective unconscious?
So the collective unconscious is pretty much that we have a personal subconscious that is ours, and uniquely ours. It's our own mind, but our minds are connected to I hypothesize. I'm not saying that this is what
I
is.
get it. This is your conception of the thing.
Right.
Go
So the collective unconscious is all of our minds connected with our species. Excuse me, our species.
How are those minds connected?
The other creatures. Well, I don't know. That's the most
okay.
honest.
Let me put it a different way then.
I can describe.
How do you
Sure.
why do you think these minds are connected?
Because
this based on
yeah, go ahead.
Is this based on Jung's idea of the collective consciousness?
As the what?
Jung had the idea of the collective consciousness, right? And that's why we have icons of memory like dragons and unicorns, because they were all part of this ancient collective consciousness. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Yeah, that were our experiences, especially the last caller when he was talking about entheogens and the and what we were doing in our ancient cultures and shamanic settings, is that we were we're especially through our dreams and all these things that we are drawing from a well of these archetypal images and things that are issuing forth from what I would call some people call it the Tao, some people call it Brahman, but that would be sort of what this is issuing off from if we or in a hermetic perspective or Kabbalistic perspective from the Ein Sof.
So how do you know that we're not? Why do you think that we're, in your metaphor, drawing from a common well rather than everyone is just drawing on their own individual experiences, and it's just that our experiences are not all that different? There's like a sort of, all humans have roughly the same experience. We encounter roughly the same types of things in our lives and respond in roughly similar fashions. Like, why do you think that there is something more than just each person is not all that different from the person next to them, and we sort of all respond to the same things in similar ways?
I would say that
because what I would say is that what you never
thing.
see, what you could see, for example, you could see unicorns, for instance, in a whole bunch of cultures, you ask people to draw a mythical creature, and maybe some of them draw a unicorn. But then say you go to like a isolated island where people have never interacted with any other culture, and they have never seen anything that even looks like a horse. Maybe they've never even seen anything that walks on four legs. They've only ever interacted with like birds and fish and then like other humans. Those people, I suspect, would not have this notion of a unicorn. That would not exist for them because they have no experience of it. But they'll have, within their society, they'll have common conceptions of other things, right? And I think that if you look back, you'll find examples of this. I'm just not a social scientist, so I can't pick out a specific example. But that's what I would propose is like the
That's
reason
interesting.
people are drawing similar conclusions about things apparently independently is that they're facing like similar issues, right? And they're sort of responding in similar ways. And it's not that there's a common well that we're all drawing from, it's that there's a common mechanism we're all using, and that mechanism is our human brain, and that's our interpretation engine. What do you think of that?
I haven't thought about it that way, really. That is something I'll have to contemplate on and possibly discard some of the beliefs that might be loosely held.
Yeah, I mean,
However,
what do you think, Kelley? I want
Yeah,
to I want to hear what Kelley thinks.
I think they're right on there, and I kind of covered this earlier in Discord. I don't know that there is any collective consciousness for us to be drawing off of. I don't agree with the idea at all. I'm really right along in line with MD, where I think we all have experiences, and many of our experiences are very similar, right? I don't see anything special about
Right.
coincidences. I think a coincidence is just that. It's just a coincidence. We read things into those coincidences. So I think in a lot of ways, the experiences that you're interpreting as being a certain way is just your interpretation and nothing else.
So, Kevin, do you have an
Okay.
example of like?
I was
Do you have an
I was
example
less
of something
yeah.
that happened, like for instance, this I don't know, magic you're proposing that acts upon this collective unconscious? Do you have an example of something like that happening where you, I don't know, induce an idea into someone who has definitely never been exposed to that idea before? Do you know what I'm asking?
Yes, there is. There are. I listen to a lot of occultists that are, especially one Freighter Xavier, that he talks about many. So he talks about coincidences in the sense that when you or when someone does a particular ritual for for something, and that intention goes into this hypothesized collective unconscious, that it then introduces things that or ideas within other people's personal this is the idea anyways, that the these ideas of their will goes into another person's or the collective, and it changes the way in which or it changes the or raises the chance that these things will happen. He says that it's not that a guarantee, or you're not exactly going to get exactly what you want. Sometimes you can, but in other time, because he was talking about such as like money magic and something, or manifesting some orange ball or something to come into your
Is
life,
this like
you
The
know.
Secret?
And
This sounds like The Secret.
It
no,
sounds like thelemic.
it is
It
made. Well,
sounds like thelemic
let
magic.
me
What's thelemic magic?
can I explain the difference? Can I explain the difference? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay. So the difference between The Secret is The Secret proposes that what you what you believe will, you know, or if you think happy and you think positive, then positive things are going to happen to you, you know. And that is not what we're that's not what we're proposing, because it's The Secret is a dirty word actually in the occultist community, or the occult community, because they it doesn't go far enough. There's not any sort of intense visualization that goes with it, or emotion, or any other things besides just thinking about something. That is a part of it, but it's very watered down occultism for the masses, I would say.
Interesting.
Do
Okay.
what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. It's what you're talking about sounds very much like thelemic magic to me. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes, Golden Dawn. That's where I
right.
That's some of the things
Crowley.
that I've done.
Can you enlighten us here, Kelley? What's thelemic magic?
It's a system of magic that was developed by the infamous Aleister Crowley some 100 years or so ago, and he thought that you can bend reality through your will, basically. That if you do these rituals, it increases the power of your will to make the changes in the world. That to put it simply.
I'm still confused about the proposed mechanism, because I don't know. I think I don't want to rehash this, but I feel like the mechanism relies on this like collective unconscious that's connected between everyone. But I'm not convinced that thing exists. Do you have any? Can you share any reason why I should believe that exists?
You know, the examples that I have, because we're like I was explaining earlier, the world in which the magician works in is subjective, and it is not as objective as the world in which, you know, modern science works, and it is not repeatable in the same way that, you know, a scientific experiment works. It works, you know, in this sense, because, you know, there are, well, that also kind of goes into to statistics and what, you know, what people do the ritual and what works and what not. I understand y'all's perspective on it. I'm just saying that to the people that do these rituals, that say that they do it, you know, they get certain tangible results. It might not always be exactly what they're looking for, but sometimes that it is. And I can't give any concrete, repeatable.
This sounds like bad predictions.
So, you know, and
I'm about to say, doesn't prayer do the exact same thing?
Yeah, or like Nostradamus did the same thing, right? It's like it's like these people are making predictions about what's going to happen when they cast a spell or perform a ritual or something like that. And then not the thing that they asked for doesn't necessarily happen, but something happens and they claim it as a win, as like a victory or a hit or a result of what they do. How do they know that it actually resulted from what they did? Right? It's like I could throw a rock like this behind my head without looking, and then I could turn around and I could see someone dead on the ground. Maybe the rock hit them in the head and killed them, or maybe it had nothing to do with it, right? Like, how do you actually know that what you're doing, the ritual or the spell or whatever, is causing the effect that you're claiming, especially if it's not doing the thing that you
So
say
what
it's going to
they
do, right?
yeah. Well, it doesn't do it in the way that you expect it would. See, the thing is that these the proponents of this say that, for one thing, if you keep the spell in mind, so a part of magic is forgetting about it. Once you've done it, you try your hardest to forget about it, because there's something called a lust for results. And if you
This
continue to
seems like
to make it in your
the
mind,
perfect setup to have a confirmation bias, because you forget all the spells
Mhm.
that you cast.
it,
You forget that you never get any results from them, and then something happens and you suddenly go, "Oh, I cast a spell for that." And then you claim it as a result of your thing. Like, do you know, like, okay,
well,
Kevin,
yeah.
let me ask you
Well,
a
I mean,
question.
I get it. I get it. It sounds irrational, and I'm not. And this is actually one thing that I'm not actually fully bought in myself. To I see people, that do that, but I do have my own, thing. My thing more is practical magic that you can do within your own personal consciousness. And that has real effects to a person. It
I'm
so
not doubting
you know from
the realness of the effect. I'm doubting the cause of those effects, right? And like the
okay,
like I'm pointing out these things which are, as I'm sure you know, these are like cognitive um biases and logical fallacies
right,
and things like this. um and my
right.
question is not necessarily how do you personally respond to these specific questions. My question is, given that all of these issues exist, how does anyone come to the conclusion that they can believe any of this, right? Like, if I was approaching this just based on, and I know you've only given me, like 20 minutes crash course on this, but like, it seems like what you're saying could potentially be correct, I guess. But like, the the hypothesis is so vague and slippery that there's no way you could ever pin it down enough to like actually have any good reason to believe it.
Mhm. And it
Right.
doesn't fit any type
Again,
of.
I have to say that it's incredibly subjective. With with what we're doing, and but you were talking about, how confirmation is seen usually, after a person does, and I'm talking about a completely healthy, mentally, person that engages in magic and does it for a certain time, because we so say the neophyte grade of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, you have to do these spells over and over and over again for at least 6 months before the subconscious understands what's going on in your and it creates the links. So and a
How
part
do
of,
you
and
know
I was
that?
getting to
How do
this,
they know
that
that? How do they know this? Like, what, like,
a part
this is this
Yeah,
this is what bothers me so much, right? It's like people are proposing this like collective unconscious to exist in the first place, which they haven't proven. And then they're making all these claims about like, oh, you have to do the spell for at least 6 months before it makes a connection. Like, what do you mean? Like, why does it take that long? Why 6 months? Why does it take more times? Like, there's all these like random rules. Like, it's just is like it's. I don't see any reason to believe this, and you're just throwing these rules at us, Kevin. Like, and
I
not
can
providing any basis
I
for
can
them.
say that. So let me give you, something in my
Can
own
I can I say
in
something?
my own life, that's
Yeah, hang
yeah,
on.
go
Let
ahead.
Can
let
I
Kelly say
can
something.
I
I want
say
to.
something real quick, Kevin? The stuff that you're talking about here, I actually believed in longer than I was a Christian, right? So I got an idea of where you're
Okay.
coming from. I understand the beliefs you're coming from. And I think if you start to look at it from outside yourself and look back in a critical way, and if you start to use some real experiments about the results of what you're doing, I think you're going to find that it has no more of a basis in reality than Christianity does.
I'm open to that. You know,
I
but
encourage
I still
some
maintain.
scientific experimentation.
Anyway, Kevin, we really appreciate your call. I'm gonna hang up right now with you just because we've got one more call I want to get to for sure. But I mean, this was a really good conversation and obviously very interesting.
Mhm.
I would love to have you call back in, Kevin, on a future show, to try to hash this out more. This is the first time I've actually encountered this like magic belief, Kelley. I've encountered The Secret, and it sort of reminds me of The Secret, in that it's like a
Mhm.
will bending reality sort of thing. But other than that, I haven't encountered it before.
And I want to put the invitation out there to Kevin too to continue this conversation on Discord. I really enjoyed it.